Hello, in this video I'm going to talk a bit more about how you can solve quadratic equations using factorization. Just going to work through a few more problems and offer a few more examples. So say for instance we're given x squared equals 4x. Well, as per the fundamental theorem of algebra, we know for any second degree polynomial we are going to have two solutions, real or complex. And the same standard goes for cubic or quartic. In the case of cubic, you're going to have three real solutions or complex solutions, and for quartic, you're going to end up with four real solutions or complex solutions. And so we know that we're looking for two solutions here. And the first step would be to subtract 4x from both sides. So we'd be left with an x squared minus 4x equals 0, right? We've just subtracted 4 from both sides. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And now we can factor a common term here would be x. We can factor out the x, so we're going to be left with x times x minus 4, of course, which equals 0. So we already know that x equals 0 is one solution. The other root or solution is going to be x minus 4 equals 0. And again, we just add 4 to both sides, and that will leave us with x equals 4. So those are two roots, or two solutions for this equation. To work on another example, say we have x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0. Again, the first step here, there are different approaches on how to factor this, but I prefer my own approach. So first thing I do is I look for AC, a times c, which in this case is 1 times 4, because there's a 1 in front of this x, right? If that's a, if that's b, and that's c, because the general form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. So you can see how this takes that form. So we want to find AC. Well, 1 times 4 is just going to be 4. And now we need to find what multiplies the 4 and adds to b, which is 5. So 1 times 4 seems quite obvious, where then also 1 plus 4 equals 5. Okay, so we have our two terms, our two factors. So we can rewrite this equation as x squared plus x, which is for our 1, plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. We can factor out an x here, so it's going to be x times x plus 1. And we can factor out a 4 here, so it's going to be plus 4 x plus 1. And this is exactly where we want to be, because now we can factor out one of these x plus 1 terms. And so we're left with x plus 1 and x plus 4. But we're solving for x, and remember this is still set to equal 0. So we'll solve for x for both of these. In this case, x plus 1 equals 0. We're just going to subtract x from both sides, which is going to leave us with x equals negative 1. And for this term, we have x plus 4 equals 0. Again, we're just going to subtract 4 from both sides. Therefore, x equals negative 4. And there's our two roots, our two solutions. If one were to graph this quadratic, you would see that the graph indeed crosses. I can sketch it very quickly. Oops. The graph would cross at x is minus 1 and x is negative 4. It will either cross or touch these points. It could kiss them, but the way that the distance apart would suggest that it crosses, something like that. And we know it's an upward facing parabola because it's positive, a is positive. Okay, so whoops, I will let's do one more example, actually two more examples. Say this is a different one. Say we have x minus 7 squared equals 36. Well, the first thing that we can do here is we can take the square roots both sides, okay, because we want to cancel this out, we're solving for x. So we can take the square root of both sides. That's going to leave us with x minus 7 plus minus the square roots of 36. 36 is of course a perfect square, so we're going to have x minus 7 equals plus or minus 6. And now we just want to, we need to solve for x, so we're going to add 7 to both sides. So that's going to leave us with x equals 7 plus minus 6. And so our two solutions are as follows: x equals 7 plus 6, or x equals 7 minus 6. So in this case, x equals 13. 7 plus 6 is 13. And in the next case, x equals 1. 7 minus 6 is 1. So those are our two solutions. And let's do one more example. Say we are given 6x squared minus 7 equals 11x. If you want to try to solve this yourself, pause the video and try it, and then you can compare. We can compare solutions. So the first thing to do here would be 6x squared. You're going to want to subtract 11x from both sides. 6x squared minus 11x minus 7. And now it equals 0. And now we can solve for x. We're going to factor. So 6 times 7 is 42, right? AC. We want to find AC. That's the first step. So 6 times 7 is 42, but it's a negative 7. So 6 times negative 7 is going to be negative 42. And now we need to find what multiplies to negative 42 and what adds to negative 11. And the first thing that comes to mind is 3 and 14. 3 times 14 is 42. And we need it to be negative 11, so it's going to be a negative 14. So it's going to be 3 times a negative 14. And this is going to be 3 plus negative 14. It's going to give us negative 11. So our two terms, or factors, or two terms here are going to be 3 and negative 14. So we can rewrite this as 6x squared plus 3x minus 14x minus 7, which equals 0. And now for these two, we can factor out a 3 and an x, okay, which is going to leave us with 2x plus 1. And here we can factor out a negative 7, and that's going to leave us with 2x plus 1. And that's exactly where we want to be, because now we can factor out one of these 2x plus 1 terms. So we have 2x plus 1, and we have, that leaves us with 3x minus 7. Those, of course, are set to equal 0. And now we can solve for x for both of these. So we'll have 2x plus 1 equals 0. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So 2x equals negative 1. And now we're going to divide by 2 from both sides, right? What you have to do to one side, you have to do to the other. And we want to solve for x. We're trying to isolate this x. We're going to divide by 2. And that's going to equal negative 1/2. Okay, so that's our one solution. One root, and here we have 3x minus 7 equals 0. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. It's going to leave us with 3x equals 7, and now we're going to divide by 3 both sides. We're going to be left with x equals 7/3. Okay. And those are our two roots, or our two solutions. And again, if we were to graph this, we would find indeed that this equation would have roots. It's an upward facing parabola. It will have roots at negative 1/2. So if you say that's 1, what negative 1/2 is going to be right here. And it's going to have another root at x is 7/3. That's 2 and 1/3. So if say that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. 2 and 1/3, say somewhere right in here. Okay, 2 and 1/3, and it would look something like that if you wanted to do a very rough sketch. Alright, so that's all for this video.